Hello, and welcome to Is This the Norm? Make sure you like, subscribe, and follow us on all these platforms like Facebook, Instagram, Spotify, Pandora, and anywhere else you get your podcast. Thanks so much in advance. And I'm Laura.
And I'm Heather.
And I'm Rebecca, the eldest. Today we're going to be discussing the memory wars. So in the 80s and 90s, practicing therapists and research psychologists began a very public debate about repressed memories. This debate was called by some as the memory wars. So during this time, many therapists, both licensed and unlicensed. So unlicensed could be sometimes like pastors, providing therapy to their flock. Things like that. And there's probably other instances, but there's one that of my examples that we'll talk about that's that. So what they were doing was attempting to retrieve traumatic memories that were repressed in order to help emotional problems. So thinking that even if you don't remember some trauma that happened to you, it might be causing your issues, whatever they may be. On the other hand, there were many research psychologists who understood a little more clearly how memory actually works, that were very skeptical about these recovered repressed memories. And so they took steps to prove the possibility that false memories could be a result of suggestive therapy sessions. So you could probably guess who was right of these two groups of people. But we'll get into what happened and the results. So in the 80s and 90s, a lot of psychologists believed in repressed memories of abuse and helped a lot of people to recover such memories. So some of these examples are 1986. Nadia Cool, she's a nurse's aide in Wisconsin. She began going to therapy sessions with a psychiatrist to help her cope with a traumatic event in the family that had happened recently. During the therapy, the psychiatrist used hypnotism and other suggestive techniques. We'll talk about those later. There's a lot of them that they can do.
That seems very vague.
Yeah, there's a few different things that they did. Hypnotism was the big one, honestly. And they use these techniques to dig out buried, repressed memories of abuse. And in Nadia's case, they found that she was part of a satanic cult. They were eating babies. Oh. She was raped, having sex with animals, and being forced to watch the murder of her 8-year-old friend. She came to believe that she had more than 120 personalities. They were children, adults, angels, and one of them was even a duck. Quack, quack.
That's Nadia what I'm thinking. This whole thing is quack, quack.
Nadia was told she had experienced severe childhood sexual and physical abuse. The psychiatrist also performed exorcisms on her, one of which lasted for 5 hours and included the sprinkling of holy water and screams for Satan to leave Nadia's body.
Oh my goodness.
So in reality, I know
this sounds like a bad
surprising.
Movie.
It's going to be surprising, but none of those things actually happened to her.
What? I'm so shocked.
Yeah. When she finally realized that the false memories had been planted, she sued the psychiatrist for malpractice.
How traumatic for her, too.
I know
we're joking around, but
oh, yeah, seriously.
This poor lady.
She was remembering, quote unquote.
And those are very scary things.
Yeah. Can you imagine?
Eating babies and murdering your own friend? Are you kidding me?
She didn't murder him, but her friend was murdered in front of her.
Well, that's what I'm saying. She saw it, and then she was eating babies? Are you kidding me?
So, March of 1997, after 5 weeks of trial, her case was settled out of court for $2.4 million. So, yeah, I think she deserved that. That's what the heck is wrong with you. So this wasn't the only patient to develop false memories in therapy. This happened actually many, many, many times, probably more times than we could ever guess back in this time frame, because this was a common practice, you guys. So another example, in Missouri, 1992, a church counselor helped Beth Rutherford to remember during therapy that her father, a clergyman, had regularly raped her between the ages of 7 and 14. And her mother sometimes helped him by holding her down. Under her therapist's guidance, she developed memories of her father twice impregnating her and forcing her to abort the fetus with a coat hanger. The father had to resign from his post as a clergyman when she publicly proclaimed that this happened. And later, medical examination of her revealed she was still a virgin at 22. She'd never been pregnant. Never happened.
Yeah, I mean, if something happened with a hanger, that would like be notable trauma to the area. I mean, outside of if she wasn't a virgin, there would be other trauma.
Right.
You would see if that actually happened.
So I'm curious how she believed it. Well, I guess, never mind. That's dumb. I just played it out in my head.
She remembered, yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I was like, if she's a virgin, she would know that those were false memories, but...
Right.
No.
So she sued, $1 million settlement, 1996. So there's a kind of a pattern, like these things were happening in the early 80s and 90s, and then in the late 90s, this, there were winning lawsuits against them. So I think I have one more example, because it's a big one. In 1990, Eileen Franklin Lipsker took the witness stand. Yeah, so this went to trial, you guys. And solely on the basis of her testimony, her father, George Franklin Sr., was sentenced to prison for the rest of his life. So there was a young 8-year-old. The brutal rape and murder of 8-year-old Susan Nason had perplexed authorities for years. So they didn't have any leads. And so the crime was unsolved. It was a cold case. 20 years later, Eileen came forward and said, I witnessed my father killing this child in front of me in our van.
Story.
Yeah. So basically, she was in the van when it happened, and she was so traumatized that she repressed the memory of the event until, with the help of her therapist, she was able to reconstruct the grisly scene in lucid detail. It was actually this extraordinary detail that she provided on the stand that convinced the jurors to convict her dad of first-degree murder. They basically said, like, afterwards, they a lot of times in these high-profile cases, they interview the jury. Like, they basically said that they didn't feel that somebody could concoct such a complete and vivid scenario of what happened by imagination alone. So Franklin Lipsker also claimed her father, Eileen, this girl, she also claimed her father killed more people, like an 18-year-old Veronica Cassio and a 17-year-old Paula Baxter. She claimed memories of those killings as well. Both were found stabbed to death in 1976, 7 years after Nason's death, in a case dubbed the Gypsy Hill Killings. In 2018, however, the DNA evidence linked Rodney Lynn Halbauer to these murders. So DNA evidence proved her memories were not accurate at all. And he was convicted of both those murders.
Yeah, was he in prison when they were figuring this out the whole time?
Yes.
Wasn't it like a cigarette butt or something that she used for DNA?
Yeah, I think so, right.
Yeah.
So many of these cases in which abuse was suggested in therapy but didn't actually happen, there were so many of them. I mean, we could talk about it all day. There's so many of them. False recovered memories, recollections of events that felt like they happened. They believed that this happened, but it never happened. They often arise through the human brain is very suggestive, is what it is. So suggestion, misinformation, therapeutic techniques like hypnosis, Well, there was a renowned clinical psychologist, Elizabeth Loftus. She was instrumental in actually providing real data through studies of how to easily create false memories like this. She's like, I know this is, she's like, I think this is what's happening. So, and she thought it was worrisome that they were going to court and convicting people on this alone, because knowing what she knew about memory and how suggestive we are, that was not, she felt like that was a bad idea for it to go to court, especially. So she conducted the Lost in the Mall study, where false memories of being lost in a mall and rescued by an elderly, friendly stranger were successfully created in 25% of her study's participants.
Wow.
Yeah, so how she did it, right. According to the article that she published in 1997, so it was right around the time when these lawsuits were, getting results of millions of dollars. But she actually said, hey, here's the scientific proof. So in Scientific American, she describes what she did and how she got these results for the Lost in the Mall false memories. She asked her subjects, I'll do it from her. She says, we asked our subjects, 24 people, ages 18 to 53, to try to remember childhood events that had been recounted to us by a parent, an older sibling, or another close relative. We prepared a booklet for each participant containing one-paragraph stories about 3 events that had actually happened to that person and one that had not. And it was the Lost the Mall one. We constructed the false event using information about a plausible shopping trip provided by a relative who also verified that the participant had not, in fact, been lost in the mall at about age 5. The Lost in the Mall scenario included the following elements. So they were lost for an extended period of time, crying, aid and comfort by an elderly woman, and reunion with the family. After reading each story in the booklet, the participants wrote that they remembered about the event. If they did not remember it, they were instructed to write, I do not remember this. In 2 follow-up interviews, we told the participants that we were interested in examining how much detail they could remember and how their memories compared with those of their relatives' memories. So the event paragraphs were not read to them verbatim, but rather parts were provided to, were retrieval cues. The participants recalled something about 49 of the 72 true events. So 68% they remembered those happening. And immediately after the initial reading of the booklet, and also in each of the 2 follow-up interviews. After reading the booklet, 7 of the 24 participants, so 29%, remembered either partially or fully the false event constructed for them. And the 2 follow-up interviews, 6 participants, 25%, continued to claim that they remembered the fictitious event. Now, they did notice that there was some differences between the true memories and the false ones. So the participants used more words to describe the true memories, and they rated the true memories as being somewhat more clear. But someone observing the participants, like not a trained psychologist, they're not going to know. They're not going to see the differences between the 2, right? So, of course, being lost, however frightening, is not the same as being abused, But the Lost in the Mall study is not about real experiences of being lost. It's about planting false memories. And is that possible? And she proved it's pretty easy to do, honestly. It didn't even take much. She just...
And not only are they trained psychologists and know to look for it, but it's helpful to know going into it that it's a false story.
Well,
which
yeah.
I'm pretty sure, and I could be wrong, but I think most of the population remembers things visually easier than they remember things audioly. So if you see something written down, for me, I'm terrible at people's names. If you tell me your name, I'm going to forget it. But if I have a name tag to read the name, I'll remember it. And so for me, this seems like hypnosis is basically creating a dream, because even when we dream, we can explain dreams in such detail because we've visualized it in our mind. And so maybe that's why this hypnosis, because you're kind of in a dream state, you're watching it like a movie in your brain, why it feels so real.
Yeah, I mean, I didn't get into this a lot, but I did read it in my research that she, and it's this expert, like she is like the expert, honestly, on memory, and has been for decades. She kind of explained it a little bit in one of her articles that everybody thinks like your memories are static, but every time you remember something, you're literally recreating it.
I believe that because so many times talking to both of you, I've been like, you remember when we were little or when we were kids and this happened? And you guys are like, that's not how it happened. It was like this.
Right.
And I'm like, no way. Like I'm visualizing it in my mind.
Right.
That it's so true. I had thought about that too as you were talking.
Yeah, you don't like, you're not bringing up memories that are just there. You're literally recreating them every time you remember something.
That's crazy.
So it's so unreliable. If you know this, like she knows this, you're
Yeah.
like, this is unreliable. And this is, you could think about this for like eyewitness testimony. Like we know it's crap in trials
But I was
now.
just thinking of, yeah,
It's the same reason. It's the same reason. Our memories
not
are not reliable.
Like
No.
the lineup, like 10 men or 10 women, and they look
Yeah.
through the, like,
I mean, I'm
that's
not
right.
saying you
Yeah.
aren't gonna, like, I'm sure that there's people that have, and also we remember things that our memories are better in different ways. Like you talked about seeing things. I like when I was a kid, I knew this about myself. Like if I read something, I'm gonna remember that really, really good, as opposed to somebody just speaking at me.
100%. Even just somebody trying to read to me, I'm like, no, 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 please, can I hold it and read it myself? Otherwise, it's not getting in there. Your
Hi,
lights.
Rebecca.
Stupid motion sensor.
Yeah, for those of
So funny.
you not watching video, she has
My lights
lights.
just turned off on me.
motion
It's
motion
rude.
sensors, lights,
I know, that's
waving
funny.
her arm.
Oh, there it is.
Yay.
You're back. You're back.
See, yeah,
Okay.
I swear it's so weird.
I have 100 questions. You know me. Okay. And you said a lot of information. And again, it's early in the morning and I get easily distracted. And because of other reasons. So it sounds like when they read this paragraph, was it when they were under hypnosis or
No,
before?
no. This was instead of a
Somebody's banging in the background.
this wasn't a therapy session. This was an actual what do you call it? Experiment.
Well, yeah, that's what I'm
This
just
was a
trying to
controlled
understand
experiment.
how it was done. Were they read that paragraph while under hypnosis?
No.
Okay.
No, that's what I'm saying, Heather. Like, yeah, some of these therapists where they recovered memories, they did it, and I was just going to get into that. So, the recovered memory movement techniques like hypnosis were used, sodium amytal, and
True serum.
guided imagery were used. But she didn't do any of those. All she did was just a suggestion, and it still worked. That's what I'm saying.
These people just read these three
I didn't
scenarios,
catch
2
that
real,
either.
one fake, and they're like, "Yeah, I remember that memory. That was
Yeah.
fake."
Yes.
Just by reading it?
Yes.
I know. I was under
my
the
God, that's
impression she
crazy.
hypnotized them.
Yeah.
She just read it.
No, she did a pamphlet and it had 4 stories. 3 of them were true, and then this lost in the mall. And 25% of the people were like, "Oh yeah, I remember that. Never happened."
Wow.
That's it. That's what I'm saying. Like that's
Okay,
how
but
suggestive we are.
Let me just say also, it was the 90s. And if I would have read that as an adult in the 90s, I'd have been like, yeah, I mean, yeah, that happened to me. Like, who hasn't gotten lost in the mall?
Yeah, but I mean, they literally said they remembered it.
Yeah, that's crazy.
That's how suggestive we are. That's how easy it is to create a false memory. Is where I mean, it was such a simple study she did, and she's like, just so you guys know,
Didn't do anything
I got
special.
25% ability to remember something that didn't even happen. No hypnotism, no truth serum,
that's
no
wild.
guided imagery,
Yeah.
nothing.
I mean, that's
right.
I had watched a Netflix special, and it was called Afflicted, and it was talking about people who like think they have these ailments, and their body presents them, even though they're
Right.
probably more than likely not sick. Okay, of course, the documentary is not going to say that, but like people, there's like a trend where people think or believe, or maybe it is true, I don't know, that like Wi-Fi signals mess with your brain and there are physical symptoms from that. And these people who believe that present these physical symptoms
Right.
because our brains are, like you said,
Very
easily
suggestive.
influenced. And yeah, and it's pretty wild. It's
Yes.
a little bit scary, honestly.
I know. That's why I think I mean this explains a lot in our world and history and life. I
Yeah.
mean cults, you know,
Yeah.
like that's how the charismatic people start cults, and people just follow them as similar reasons. You know, probably not the same. It's not that simplistic, but
Yeah, for
it's
Humans
sure.
are very impressionable.
right and suggestive. Exactly. So I would love to say that the therapists that were planting these false memories stopped because of studies like Elizabeth's and logical conclusions of clinical psychologists that were telling them, you know, hey, these are not reliable. But what put a halt to this, like happens so many times, is the civil suits where therapy patients or even their accused family members sued the therapists and won. That's probably what put a stop to it. You know what I mean?
That's what I was going to
Always
ask about
money.
Fred Senior, Junior, whatever. Did he sue? I'm assuming he did.
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah. Yeah, one of the most prominent cases, this is the last one, was that of Holly Ramona. While attending the University of California, Irvine, 19-year-old Holly Ramona, she sought therapy for depression and bulimia. During treatment, she began experiencing fragmented memories of being repeatedly raped by her father between the ages of 5 and 8. Her therapist actively helped her to recover these memories, quote unquote, and one even administered the truth serum to bypass her conscious mind. Following an accusation, Holly's mother filed for divorce. The family permanently fractured. Gary Ramona Holly's father denied the allegations, lost his job, sued his daughter's therapist for professional malpractice, and in a groundbreaking 1994 California decision, so this was earlier than the rest of them, the jury awarded him $500,000. They concluded that their therapist had negligently implanted false memories by suggesting incest as the cause of bulimia, interpreting fleeting images, abuse, and using controversial recovery techniques. So this legal victory actually established a legal precedent for third-party malpractice claims against therapists, which was probably the main reason my therapist ceased to dig and find abuse in childhood memories, whether the memories were true or not.
I mean, my heart breaks for everyone, like not only the victims from those false memories, but the victims who hold on to those false memories. I mean, I can only
Yeah.
imagine, like I said earlier when talking to you guys, and I remember a memory of our childhood one way, and you guys tell me it was another. I'm like, it's really hard for me to believe you because it's like they're in there.
Yeah,
I'm playing the video in my mind. They gotta be
exactly.
true. I can only
Right,
imagine how they
right.
feel.
And it's not like they're going to go away. Like, even if you know, okay, that didn't happen, that's traumatic. Like, that's still going to,
Yeah.
you're still going to see that.
Like just watching a scary movie too. I mean, that's traumatic, like,
Yeah,
yeah, for sure. I
yeah.
get where you're going with that. And how do you rebuild a relationship after that? You just can't.
Oh my gosh,
You
no. How
can't.
many families were shattered
Yeah.
by this happening? These,
Or that poor dad in prison by
yeah,
his own child. Like for
I
both of
know.
them, my heart aches.
Yeah,
It's
yeah.
horrifying.
Yeah, they don't, courts don't allow
Children.
repressed memories anymore that were like recovered during hypnosis and things like that. They don't even allow them anymore. It's just not allowed. It was a bad idea to allow them in the
And
first place, which is why Elizabeth did her study.
yeah, I think that case with the father and the daughter had a big influence on that, right? Or no, am I wrong? Because I remember watching a special on that specific story
Yes,
and then them
she
later stating you can't use memories
exactly.
in a
Oh
movie.
no, she right when she found out that they were using this in court and it was that case is when she was like, "Ooh, this is a bad idea," because she's a clinical psychologist, so
She knows.
she knows. I mean, psychiatrists are just practicing. They're two different
Oh,
sets.
I see what
You
you're
know,
saying.
they're both psychologists, but one of them's practicing and one of them's clinical. And the clinical ones were like, ooh, we've seen things like this, like suggestive things like this happening. Like, it wasn't just her. There was
Sure.
two groups. One of them was like, this is a bad idea. And one of them was like, no, we need to help the people.
Yeah. Yeah. I trust her for sure. Like, do the
Yeah.
experiments, figure this out.
Yeah. I mean, can you imagine knowing what you, like, if you were her and you knew what you know
Watching
about
that play
memory
out.
and seeing this, you're like, oh no, no, it's a bad idea. So that's why she did a study and she wrote books and she was trying to get it out there. Like, hey, bad idea.
Yeah.
She
Like,
was right.
look to the experts.
Yeah, well, I mean, you
Question
think the
them as well.
psychiatrists are
Right.
experts. Like, when you
Well,
go to your psychiatrist, they have a
right.
degree. You expect them to know what they're doing. It's not true all the
Yeah.
time.
That's what I'm saying. Look
Yeah.
to the experts, but also
From my
question them.
experience with psychologists, not all, I'm not putting them all in the box, but I can tell you right now, a lot of the psychologists I've met, they're all a little bit different. Like, they're very like artistic, almost like eccentric in their own way. I don't know how to explain it. Like, I've met a lot of doctors in my time, like medical doctors. Like, I could tell you it's true. Like, there's certain kind of personalities that you have for orthopedic surgeons. You have certain personalities for a brain surgeon or a neurologist, and then, general surgeons and even dermatologists. Like, I've just seen them all, and it's funny how the personalities relate. And with
Yeah.
psychologists, like, a lot of them have their own like issues too, which is great because then they can relate to their patient because they understand like
I can't
the
believe you could
differences
get
in life.
through all of that education and learning so much about the brain and come out just like everything's hunky dory. I mean, there's a lot of like, self-diagnosis, even like I remember through dental hygiene school, and I'm sure you through nursing school, where they talk about like self-diagnosing because you're learning about all this pharmacology and how it affects the body. Like, I can only imagine how much in their head these psychologists already are just from learning about it.
And I think that's why they're always open to these like new and maybe
Right.
on the edge ways of dealing with humans,
Fringe. Yeah.
and that's why like they get this, oh, we can get these suppressed memories, and they just kind of run with it without maybe doing the, talking to colleagues and doing a controlled study to make sure it's a safe thing, instead of just like, we figured out this like cure all, we can figure it out and just run with it. I don't know what happened. I'm not saying that's how it went down,
Well,
but
I
that's what it
think
sounds like.
I think back then there was like they were always learning new things about brains, and so they were like, "Ooh, I could do this with my patients."
Yeah. It's like
Unfortunately,
the
the
that's
newest, latest,
how
and
it
greatest
goes.
stuff.
You have to kind of make mistakes, and then we
I mean,
learn from
that is
them.
a science
huge
that is
mistake.
not
Not a not a helpful science.
it's not a science that is solid and developed and
steadfast.
static.
Right.
It's
It's not steadfast. No.
very change.
I
It's
mean,
always changing, and they're always finding new things. Like I mean, just in the past, not even a decade.
yep.
The what's the I always forget what it's called, the mushroom psychedelic drugs for
Oh,
that
yeah,
are
yeah.
mushrooms. Like that's the big thing right now. They're using that to treat
Ketamine and that and all
a
that
trauma,
stuff. Yep.
PTSD, blah blah blah. Like that's the new thing. So there's always the new thing, with
Mm-hmm.
that science, because our brains are very complicated machines.
Yeah, I had watched a special also on a guy who had really bad migraines, and he was using those shrooms. And this was early on, before like they were early on in the research. This was several years ago. I watched it, and he would actually like eat the mushrooms and like trip out in his house, in his room by himself, and his wife would be there to kind of like monitor him and watch over him. And then he wouldn't have migraines for months, but he had like really
I should try that.
debilitating migraines that like, yeah, I know. I have migraines. Really bad.
I do. I have
I'm just kidding.
debilitating.
I know
Once
you
a
do.
month, I have tension migraines.
But he would also say like, I don't like doing it. Like, I dread
Yeah,
having to
I
take these
feel that.
shrooms and trip out. I don't enjoy it, but it's the only way I can treat my
Right.
migraine. I'm sure I
I'm not
haven't followed
21
up.
anymore. Right.
Yeah. Haven't followed up, and I'm sure that like now they have ways to like get the ingredients you need from those mushrooms to take a pill and not trip out and still get the
Oh
benefits.
no, I don't think so.
Or at
You do
least they're
trip
working
out.
on that. Yeah,
I
I
don't
don't
think
know.
so. No,
Not
they
yet.
trip out. That's part of it. Yeah,
Yeah,
no,
they
you trip
still
out.
do. Yeah, that
It's
sucks.
under, it's supposed to be under psychiatrists. Like
Watch.
you, yeah, they like are there when
Yeah,
you're tripping out, so
supervising
you
him.
don't have a
I
bad
mean, you would
trip.
have
But
to, right? Like, because yeah, that's scary. If I mean, yeah, like
yeah,
some people in their 20s, they think it's fun, but not everyone does. You know, like you would
right.
want someone watching out over you because if you're already going into it with anxiety, it's going to be
Yeah, exactly,
exasperated. So you got to make sure that these
exactly.
people feel safe and that they're,
Right.
you know, like
Yeah,
coming
because
from like a
like
medical standpoint.
when you used to do it for fun when we were young,
I
you
never
know,
did it.
you'd be
Stuff like that.
excited.
I
Oh,
didn't do stuff like that, Rebecca.
I was way too
Heather,
anxious. There was no way I was
you're
willing to do that out
lying
of
right
control.
now.
Heather's lying, but I'm not. I didn't do that.
Oh, you never did that?
No,
Oh.
never did shrooms.
I took a half a hit acid when I was like 17 and it was okay. It was like a half a hit, you know, but I didn't like it cuz I don't like anything where you can't sleep. So if it keeps me awake, like I don't want to do those drugs. Not interested in anything that I can't go to sleep. Shrooms on the other hand, you can go to sleep. You're going to have some crazy dreams,
I remember your
but
tea you
That
used to
sounds
make.
scary.
Your shroom tea.
I
Do
never
you
made
remember
shroom
that?
tea.
Yeah, you did.
Oh, maybe I did one time. I only did shrooms like 3 times in my whole life.
See,
So.
this is one of those memories I was talking about. This is what I'm
Yeah.
saying.
Yeah.
I didn't do shroom
Heather's
tea.
remember.
Yes, you
See,
did.
Heather, you're just remembering it wrong.
I'm not.
Who do
No,
we believe?
I might have
It
made
We need
tasted
one time.
hypnosis.
terrible.
No, yeah, of course
Tasted
they did.
terrible, and it did not get me high.
Oh,
So
really?
I don't know what you did,
Oh, I don't know.
but it was fun.
But I only did it a few times in my life. But it was fun. I liked doing it, but it's
There
a
is
lot.
like a
You know,
there
it's
is
still a
a
lot.
fine line of doing shrooms and being like, okay, this is a good time, and then you get to a point where this is not a good time anymore.
Yeah.
And I hypothetically, I know a friend that got to a point where it wasn't a good time.
Yeah, exactly. It's not fun anymore when you're trying to adult and deal with your life. Yeah, exactly.
So you got to be careful with that. Oh, what was I going to say? Oh, this is totally off. Speaking of different treatments, I forgot to tell you when I worked in, when I was in law school and I still worked as a nurse in North Dakota, I worked at a psych facility where they did the electronic shock for
Oh,
I
depression.
remember you talking about that.
I
It
want
was a
somebody to do that to me. I just want to do it.
to
to see.
witness. Like I had to be the nurse that took care of them as they're getting electrocuted and afterwards. And I just remember like asking these patients like millions of questions about
Yeah.
like how does it work and how does it help?
does
And
it
like a
feel?
lot of them were like, this is the only thing that's ever helped me. And it's like you
Yeah.
think that's not. I mean, this was so 2012, 2013.
It'll
So
come back around. Give it a
I
couple
don't know if they're
years
still
and they'll be
doing
doing
it.
it again.
I'm assuming they're still doing it because, but I don't know. But I just, I remember thinking when I was there and they were doing this to patients, I was like, I thought this didn't really happen. And then when I
Yeah.
found out they were doing electroshock therapy, I was like, holy moly, they do this. And I got to witness it. So I thought, it was
Were there
interesting.
different age groups receiving the treatment? Like, what was the?
Yeah, all the different age groups. I don't think there was any people that were under 18 that were getting it that I remember. They were all adults of varying
No,
ages.
it's
And of
probably
course,
not
like
allowed.
they have to have like really good health
I,
otherwise
I
because
wasn't. I
it's
wasn't thinking
dangerous.
children. I was just curious if like it was like an older population that like, hey, this is what I've always done. This is what I want to do. This is what works for me. Or there was several different age groups within that.
Yeah, I mean, but memories are not the best. But as we talk about it, I was like, I don't want
No,
to
we can't
falsely say
trust
something.
anything we've
I know.
ever said.
But I don't remember it being a certain subset of ages or anything like, oh, this is what I've always done. And this is what I'm always going to do. A lot of them were like, I've tried everything and this is the only thing that works kind of thing. So
I'm glad they found something that feels like it works.
it's not like 100% for everybody. Like, oh, if you have severe depression, like this is the cure all. Like some people probably didn't work. I don't know.
Yeah.
Sure. Very
But-
interesting.
Yeah, it was very interesting. It was a trip because I was like, I remember asking the doctors, like, I thought this was just,
In the movies.
yeah, like I didn't think this really
Yeah.
happened on a regular. And it was like, they
Seriously.
had like every Thursday. I don't remember what day of the week it was, but like every Thursday we do this.
Yeah.
And the people come in and we just bring them in, shock them, recover them, on they go. Bring them in, shock them, recover them.
I'd like to say I would never be willing to let anyone shock my brain, but also I've never been in a state of desperation that I'm assuming those people are in.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, I
I'd
don't
do
think
it.
any of them want
I'd
to
do it just for fun.
Rebecca,
Give me that shot.
sign me up.
Do it.
I mean, I
What's the worst
did.
that
I
can
thought
happen?
about it too. Like, wonder if like there's a way to just, because you see people and they do fine. And
What
so
if it's
you
a
think,
reset? You're like,
yeah,
ooh,
that's like what I
new
thought. I was
brain.
like, I'm living in
that'd be
North
nice.
Dakota in the desolate winter and it's
Yeah.
horrific. Maybe this could get me feeling good about my
Yeah.
if I could get a
Yeah.
quick little zip zip. Of course, I never did,
Seriously.
but it did cross
would
my
do it.
mind.
If somebody's
'Cause
willing to do it to me, I'll do it for free.
I mean, they were selling
Probably
it. My
costs a lot of
patients were
money.
selling
Yeah.
it.
Oh, yeah. I'm sure it costs a lot of money.
Yeah,
So-
their insurance I think covered it. Like you have to go through probably like different levels of medication,
yeah.
which is
I'm sure.
ridiculous.
Make you jump through 10 hoops
Right.
before you can do that, right?
So, anyways,
Well,
just
that
wanted
is-
to add that.
That's all I have.
That's crazy.
So we're done. Laura, what's our
We're
next
done.
episode going to be? Just so
Ooh.
we,
Mine's going to be on nicotine
okay.
or tobacco. So,
Okay.
yeah, keep a watch out for that.
I'll have a
That'll
lot
come
to say
out
about that.
a week from now. Yeah,
Yeah.
it's very exciting.
Yes. All right. Well, thank you for joining us all. I hope you enjoyed this episode of Is This the Norm with Rebecca,
Laura,
Heather, and Laura.
And goodbye.
bye, guys.
everybody.
Thank you so much.